We're here with Mexican flipping
Hey, that's racist.
freaking
Low
people
key.
coming onto this podcast trying to make the white male a minority. This is what you're walking into, Juan. This is what's gonna happen. I have been oppressed by Paul trying to square up to my presence on the podcast. But you know what?
Zach is black.
Wait,
Facts.
it's true.
Do you?
But
It reminds me of the whole.
no, let's
The
not.
what?
Let's not. I'm bleeping that. I'm sorry. For Paul's sake, I'm gonna bleep everything Juan said. In fact, I'm gonna bleep everything Juan says from now on.
Bro, I heard the word black and immediately I thought of that.
Well, okay, but for real though, so Juan, I don't know if you know this, but you've actually been suggested to be on the podcast for quite a while now. Like,
Really?
We've actually had an audience asking for you to get on.
Oh, that's fire.
Like, you know-
Who asked?
Well, like it doesn't really matter who, but like they had something specifically that they wanted to get from you though.
That's
Like they wanted your input on it, on a topic, and I'm wondering, like,
okay.
so you have no idea about this?
that's fire, dude. That makes me feel super special.
Hell yeah, yeah, totally. Well, okay, so like, I'm not gonna beat around the bush. We're gonna get right into it.
All right.
So,
Get right into juicy details.
what are your thoughts on Fortnite?
On Fortnite, dude, it's like I tried playing it. I really did, but it was just so boring. Like
Abort night, Fortnite.
Abort night! Get off the podcast, Juan.
God, it was like probably like
Canceled.
the worst thing. And then you know what the worst part about it is like, I have a 9-year-old nephew who plays it, and he begs me to play with him, and he destroys me every single time. So it's like I'm also awful at the game, but it's because like I never got into it.
Nah, actually, I feel that. I understand. I was just,
Yeah.
we're just memeing on you, Juan. We're just having our ways.
Do you
with
guys
on
like
this
it?
Podcast. That's
No.
I played it when it first came out. I tried really hard to get into it, but
It was like it's like a social thing. Like, you know, everyone was playing Fortnite, and so I was like, you know, let's try it out. And I played with a couple friends, and it's fun. Like, just wasn't entertaining.
The worst part, in my opinion, the worst part about it is actually like the selling point, like the building. Oh man, I hate that so much. I really do.
Minecraft.
I had a cousin, like a little 11-year-old cousin, and he went over to Burma right now. He's in Burma, but like as my other cousin was dropping him off at the airport, we were like joking with him. We were like, "There's no Fortnite servers in Burma, bro. What the fuck are you gonna do?" And he actually legitimately got pissed. He's not having fun over there right now. There's no Fortnite servers.
Oh my god. I can't imagine. Well, Paul, you're not in your dorm anymore, so I imagine you're pretty stressed out that you can't Fortnite with your
Wait,
frat
what
bros
school do you go
anymore.
to,
yeah.
Paul?
Oh, I go to University in Atlanta.
Oh, what? That's fine.
Dude, all my fucking roommates just play Fortnite like till 3 a.m.
Dude, do you guys know Brawlhalla?
Yeah.
Dude, I spent playing that shit like my first semester of college every single day till 4 in the morning.
I have no idea what that is.
It's kind of like Smash.
It's like
right?
Smash, but it's like discount Smash, but I
Yeah.
enjoy it more.
Oh, was that with the sausage businessman?
What?
Sausage businessman? I don't know. I don't know any characters in there.
Nah,
Mr. Business, and he looks like a sausage,
no.
and he has suspenders.
I have
Nah.
no idea, bro. I've never played the game. My roommate plays it though.
It's fire. I got pretty good at it, and I'm not good at games in general. Like I don't know if you remember when you used to play video games in Josh's room. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah. Well, we should get like context as well, cause like, we should really explain like who you are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, actually, I'll let you to explain who you are. That'd probably be better.
Me? Explain who I am?
Yeah.
Oh.
Who are you? Juan Bonilla.
I'm Juan Antonio Bonilla Negron, and
Oh my! Get him off! Silence the Spanish in my podcast. Ugh.
that's so
Can't
racist.
understand them.
Oh no, Zach has turned into like a full right-wing Nazi.
I am.
Or should it be
Whoa.
left-wing?
No, that's right. Definitely right.
That's right.
I'm
Okay.
far left wing.
He's Antifa too at the same time.
I am.
Dude,
I'm Antifa just
I
so I
took
can
a
call myself a neo-Nazi.
I just learned what liberals and conservatives were, bro. Like, I just took a
What?
sociology course.
How do you just learn?
It's
how
so
do
bad.
you
I'm
just
so
learn
out
what
of
that
politics,
is?
bro. Like, I really... It's bad.
No, I know where you're coming from. Like,
Yeah.
Also, I just don't care. So.
Man, that's the thing. Neither do I. And I almost didn't vote this, like, last election.
That's different, though.
I almost didn't vote because I was so ignorant. That's the thing. I was super ignorant, and I didn't want to, like, vote for the wrong person accidentally. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I didn't. I wasn't
Well,
able to
it's only
vote because
wrong
I
if,
was
like, you
ignorant.
don't-
I was looking at Georgia's elections, but it turns out I needed like an absentee ballot for Florida because I can only vote in Florida.
Yeah.
So I was like, it was too late by the time, and I was like, oh
Nah,
fuck.
you can only vote
Yeah.
in, like, a city, I thought. Because, like, I know my brother went to, like, UF, and when it came time to vote for the presidential election, like, he had to come here and vote. Or something like that.
Yeah, there are some like eschewing like weird loopholes. Like if you're not part of a party, you can't vote in the presidential election.
No. That's the Senate thing, because Senate's like our office or something like that. It's like because you have to depend on like Republicans and Democrats, because that's like seats.
Anyway,
You know what I'm saying? Like
welcome
the
to the
senator
political
seats.
podcast.
I think.
Welcome to the
At least that's how it was explained to me. But
welcome to
yo,
the podcast where we know what we're talking about.
all right, now, but I'm Juan. What do I say? Like, I like movies.
I mean, well,
Um,
yeah. I mean, that's basically why we're here. We're just here because we all enjoy movies and making films.
backstory how I met these two. I held
Yeah.
auditions for a movie that I made titled Mary's Garden. Check this shit out. It's on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? 400
We'll plug
views.
it. We'll plug it.
You feel me?
Hell yeah.
Ooh.
Nah, but yeah, I had auditions. They auditions and they both got their parts. So, and now
No, I
we're-
didn't. I went for the part of Michael.
Yeah, I was gonna.
I-
I was gonna say, yeah. Paul and I have a different story then. If that's the way you're looking at it, this is like 2017. Well, like 2016, 2017, right? Or
Yeah.
2017,
yeah.
2018.
Like,
no,
and
never mind. Yeah, I'm getting my
Nah.
years
The
wrong.
auditions were in 2016, and then the premiere of the movie was in 2017. Which, by the way,
Yeah.
we didn't really get a real premiere. like you know how you guys had like
Oh,
the actual
yeah.
audience.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't get ours,
That's
bro.
true.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, like I think first things first. Paul and I should talk about how we know you, because our whole rundown of the auditions was like, I didn't even know Paul at the time.
Oh, really?
So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, that's like Paul and I basically became friends like at your audition setup.
Oh, that's funny.
Same with Kat
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, Kat actually told me, she's like, the only reason I'm hanging out with these people is because of the Mary's Garden.
Wow, Kat, come on the podcast, defend your name.
That's
Paul,
really
you're
what she
saying
said.
that you're only
That's
friends
literally
with
what she
us
said.
just because. Oh my.
That's literally what she said. I mean, not like, I guess I said it wrong, but like, that's basically what she said. She was like, the only reason she talked to you guys was because like, you guys were doing that. You know what I mean? Yeah.
People just ain't faithful out here. Everybody's coming for something.
Nah, but dude, like the auditions thing were like the greatest, probably like one of my favorite days I've ever had in my life, to be honest. Because it was like so surreal. Like I know it's stupid because
Yeah.
it was like a tiny ass like auditorium. You know what I mean? Like, but it was just like it was surreal. Like something that I actually like cared about and people actually wanted to participate. It was kind of cool.
Well, like, yeah, I'd say the biggest difference between Mary's Garden and Setting the Sun, from what I know, is the auditions. That was one of the striking differences from, or like one of the stark contrast, is that I think you as a director know how to work with a larger group of people or how to keep a group of people like under your wing. And me, I lack, I don't know if it's public like announcement or like advertising, but I remember that was one of the differences.
Yeah, no, because here's the thing. We started that Remind page, right? And like everyone signed up for it, so that was like easier for me to like, you know what I mean, like talk to everyone. But then again, like I remember we had like 30 extras, bro, and like none of them showed up for like the first day of filming.
Oh no, I know that too. Oh yeah.
Like dude, that killed me. I was like, dang. I remember Paul showed up for the extras, or no, it wasn't Paul. It was Ralph. He showed up, and I was like, bro, you should have came like 3 hours ago, because he wasn't acting. He was using the camera. But yeah, no, I think also what it was is just like I didn't really know what I was doing. To be honest, everything was just like I was kind of making things up on the spot. So, and what I do when that happens is like I pretend like I know what I'm doing, and so like I talk to people and I just try to keep them entertained while I'm figuring things out. That's really what it was.
Until you make it, yeah. And well, like even you said like talking about extras. Paul and I went with the intention to become extras in your movie.
Yeah,
really?
some sort of like standing ground.
Yeah, we just went to be extras.
To like get up on.
Yeah, it was gonna be 3 of us, like Paul, myself, and Austin, this other dude, who I like recently met too, and I'm on the same terms with like both these guys, but we're like, all right, hey, there's extras for a movie, we're in film class, cool, we'll check it out and just stand around and play our part. But then come to find out we have to go for a role, and we see that there's only 2 male roles. So like Mason and Michael, and I'm like, maybe I'll do Michael.
Did you go for Michael did you go for Mason because Paul went for Michael? Or
well, this is the story, is that like I went for Michael, and the difference between Michael and Mason at least from the auditions, was that Michael was more outgoing and charismatic, and he knew how to talk. He was a conversationalist. Mason was more introverted, quiet, etc. But I see Michael, I'm like, that'd be fun to do. Why not, like, I could try out my acting chops and do something fun. And then Paul and I are there talking, and Paul's like, all right, I'll do Mason. And this dude comes up to us who's like really energetic.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Shakes my hand. He's like, hey, how are you guys? Best of luck to you guys. I can't wait to see what parts you guys go for. And like, what parts you going? Well, actually, yeah. What part are you going for? I say, well, I'm going for Michael. Oh, that's awesome, dude! I'm going for Michael too. Like, oh, all right.
Is that stop, dude? Are you talking about? Remember that? And he was like, stop.
He was the shorter guy. Was he the stop guy?
The one who was like, stop, and it just like flew his hand. That shit was funny.
I remember you saying stop. You're like, stop. That's why I remember it from. Like, when did you say stop? But
I remember.
The point being, like. It's just like I went with the intention to become Michael, and then I, did Mason, and Paul switched over. Is like, fine, I'll do Michael, and I never got to see Paul's performance when doing Michael's character. But
dude, that's the thing. Like, everyone was, for the most part, was really good, and I really liked Paul, and the reason I didn't give him Michael was because I thought he would be too introverted for it. You see what I'm saying? At least, then again, I didn't pick the role for Michael. I couldn't. I wasn't allowed to, because I auditioned for it. But I actually liked Paul a lot. That I made a character for him.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Because I was.
Wait, what? Bobby was made.
Bobby was made there. I thought Bobby was like before.
Nope. Bobby was made for you.
That's what I actually wanted to like ask about that here, because I was like, I don't remember how I got the part of Bobby.
Jason, you got a little something there. You know what this is? No, it's literal weed.
I just remember seeing like in the names, like it was like Paul is Bobby, and I thought that was like an extra, and I was like, hey, at least I'm part of the movie.
Nah, I remember I was talking to Josh about it. I was like, dude, we gotta get Paul, because like, all right, so Mary's Garden, what it was like, I tried to make each character a stereotype. That's what I was going for. Like, you had the emo girl, you had the douchebag, you had the religious goody two shoes, and then you had the underdog introvert. And we didn't have like a comic relief or anything like that. And I was like, dude, this guy could be funny. Like, I remember talking to Josh, and I was like, yo, or no, not even just Josh. We were all sitting in Charlton's little interrogation room, watching over the footage, and we all looked at each other like, this guy, like, legitimately, we were like, this guy's too good to pass up. Like, we gotta do something for him. And so that's when we created Bobby, and we didn't even give you a last name. I mean, we did.
It's all right, bleep that out. You gotta bleep that last name out.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it, but that was just jokes. You actually don't have a last name.
Yeah,
like
that's pretty dope.
like Bobby does. Yeah, nah. So yeah, like we didn't purposely like not like you, and that's why we didn't choose you as Michael. We actually liked you a lot, so we made a character for you.
Whatever happened to that dude that was all like, "Hey, I'm gonna go be Michael," and he was all outgoing and whatever.
Dude, is it that like Hispanic looking dude?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So-
Actually, wait, Juan, you're identifying it based off race?
He's actually Indian.
Bro, so what happened was he wouldn't show up ever to like anything. Like I asked him, I was like, "Hey, because I messaged him. So you know like the callbacks, how everyone had to show up again and then like kind of do like another thing."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I texted him. I was like, "Yo, like it's you and me and you for this spot. Like, we need you, whatever." And he never responded, and until the day of, and he was like, "Sorry, I gotta take my girlfriend somewhere." And I was like, "Okay." If he's already like not showing up or not like trying to do anything, then he's not gonna show up ever, you know.
Yeah.
Especially like a character like his, like super important. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, so I was just like, you know, whatever.
That's same thing with Setting the Sun. Is like I had to really figure out who was going to be there and like who I could count on day one. It's like of course Paul, played a vital role in cinematography.
Yeah.
And aside from that as well, he was a character, and then I had to get my other major players in check, like my supporting actress. Both of my supporting actresses, I needed them to show up.
Yeah.
But anyway, again, like I see what you mean there. It's because if they didn't, then, there are times where things like that would happen. Then I was just boned. I couldn't do anything.
Yeah. And here's the thing, like I feel like what sets me, you, Paul, and Josh aside from everybody else trying to make movies is that we actually cared. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't something that was just for fun, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like we actually wanted to like create something. Like as cheesy as that sounds, that's like what I had in mind. I was willing to do anything to get it done, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's why I'd like to pick your brain, because I think that's what Mary's Garden is about, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Like I was willing.
Yeah.
That literally, like, I've never worked on anything harder, or worked harder on anything than that, like, ever. Like, that
and the
was...
movie's all about the ethics of a project as well, or like how far one is willing to go and the pursuit of their passion.
Yeah, I mean, it was... The film itself was kind of like a testament to just, like, understanding reality in a sense. I know that's, like, a really weird way to put it, but, like think of it like this. So we have a really weird like schizophrenic type psychopath, right? And then you have his brother who's the complete opposite in every way, shape, or form. So it's like they both kind of had the same upbringing, but like to one person it was so different, like how they treated it and how they like coped with it, but the other one just like, you know what I mean, like couldn't handle it. So it's like just like difference in like relations and like how it impacts like the human mind. And I kind of that's the route that I really wanted to go for, just like picking each character's brains and like how they interacted with the same people. That's why I really liked the fact that they were all working together on one thing, because they treated each thing like it was for the same purpose. They treated each thing like differently, you know what I mean? Like Michael was more like assertive in certain things. Like he wanted to get the set done, he wanted to do this and that, he kind of wanted more recognition. But then Mason was more like about the kids. He was like, I want them just to have fun, you know? And I feel like we captured that a lot like better with Mason than we did with Michael, to be honest.
Well, it was a constant juxtaposition throughout your storyline, and I think that's really important in any movie or any form of media or any art form, really, is the idea of yin yang and that conflict, because that's what builds drama and story.
Yeah, for sure. And I think my biggest regret of Mary's Garden was not, in terms of production wise, like actually like making the film, was not editing as I was making it, like as we were filming. I think that was like the biggest mistake, because dude, like when I tell you I had so many ideas, but each time, or when we went to edit, they couldn't come to fruition because it just didn't work. Like in my head it worked, but in actual, like when we put it in Sony Vegas, it was just like the worst thing. So like in terms of that was my biggest regret. But in terms of actually like the movie itself and the story, I would have let, like doing it now, I would have let Mason live for sure. I just feel like his story wasn't over, and you know what I mean. But then again, we still don't know if he's actually dead, to be honest, because the movie was from the one that is on YouTube is from one perspective. We don't really know what happens, which
the narration, right? And it's the narrative piece.
Yeah, that's the one that I released because I couldn't handle the audio issues with the first one, and the murdering kid scene, it wasn't sitting with me right. Like I felt like it felt more of a shock piece than it was a statement, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah. Well, like also one thing that I'm a little worried about here is context. I think we should really let the audience know, just like the piece by piece story of what you're talking about here, because there are multiple things I want to break off on, like the editing, the story formation. Because really quick, we can tidy this up right now. With the script, was there anything that you had in mind that never even got to the filming, like got to set? Anything you had to cut in post or in pre-production?
Oh yeah, so I wanted to do the Chloe and Michael relationship. I think was something that I missed entirely. Like I fucked up. I don't know if I can cuss.
I'll edit that. Don't worry. I'll make you cuss there. Don't worry.
Okay.
Just
I messed
give me a
up
cuss word,
big
then I'll
time.
put it there.
Fucked.
All right.
I fucked up big time. Just cause like I wanted it to be like I was super into like metaphors. I still am, but I wanted the kiss between them like a Judas kiss. You know what I mean? Like
A kiss of
like
betrayal
I got you,
and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I wanted. That's the whole reason I wrote it. But then, you know, like writing it was like I was so focused on a million different things that like that whole scene was rushed. The relationship was rushed. Like if it's to this day, if you watch it, even with context, it just doesn't feel right. You know what I mean? So, and another thing. Oh, I was actually gonna film, and I actually wrote part of it, and I actually had the idea. The only thing that stopped me from doing it was time, and like that's really about it. Cause I wanted to film Michael actually murdering Steven, and I had such a good idea for it, so I actually wanted to film that scene, but we just couldn't do it. And besides that, the script kind of I liked how I wrote it for the most part, not the lines, because I hate writing lines, to be honest. What I do is I like kind of just like I write guidelines, so people I leave it up to the actors to kind of just like take those guidelines and just like have it come natural to them, like what their character is gonna say. You know what I mean?
Because then it's better synthesizing with like who they are as playing that character.
Exactly. Like imagine.
Sure.
It's a perfect example would be like that scene with Mason and Ariana when they were preparing for the play, and she's like trying to get with Mason. If you notice, she's literally saying each line word for word, like she actually memorized it, and to me, it seemed very like not authentic. You know what I mean? But if you noticed, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but like when me and you were filming the IA portion, the epilogue, and we were like, in the ditch portions, when we were like going back and forth at each other, we were going off on each other.
You put the damn play in front of her! That play was all I had. And I got it. It wasn't for the kids. It wasn't for you. It was for me.
Like we were feeding off of each other's like performances, I think, And I feel like that's what made it like more like special. You know what I mean? Like, because at that moment you could really tell that like these two have something. You know what I mean? Like they have like some sort of connection, whether it be like they're related or whatever it was. You know what I'm saying? Like,
And I think we got that as we were working together as well. Like it just became natural discourse to talk to one another. So as actors, as people, it was totally fine.
yeah, for sure. And that's what I'm saying. Like that's why like filming Mary's Garden was like probably the best time I've had doing something ever.
Oh yeah.
1 second. 1 second. Pause real quick. Pause.
Okay. Yeah, we're paused.
Ask.
Oh,
I'm back.
no, Paul. Yeah, Juan's a cool guy.
Oh yeah. Oh, Juan's back.
Juan's a great. Oh.
No.
All right. So
I
where were
mean, I'm totally fine with people of differing races than me. That's.
we? Are we
know,
going
I
back
think
to you
it's
being
great.
racist?
I'm not.
Ooh, I got a question. I got a question.
That pause was unsettling,
Okay,
Paul.
I haven't said much yet in the podcast. I should say something before my battery died. But all right, so like we all got into our characters pretty well because offset, you know, we all bonded pretty well.
Offset. Yeah.
But would you say like in terms of like a director mode that you had to kind of like squash that sort of friendship and get into working mode? Like if we would ever become like too buddy and too playful?
No, that was the hardest thing for me to do because I have a really hard time separating it, and that's why like that's why I think a lot of times why we didn't film it was my fault because like I wasn't as strict as I needed to be for sure. Because I remember you and Zach were playing too much one time in like the auditorium, and I tried to be mean for a second, but I really couldn't because it was just so funny to me.
Jesus Christ!
And like I really couldn't like say anything, or I could, but I just didn't want to, and so it
I'll
cost
say
us.
in retrospect,
What?
I remember like, well, just in retrospect, one of the worst moments I think Paul and I had in just discouraging filming was when Josh was hanging down the ditch and he was recording over the shoulder of Chloe and getting you and the actions that you were doing or the dialogue, and Paul and I kept going Luck on dick, and we would throw sticks at Josh's crotch, and and we were holding his leg, so he was suspended, and we just kept kicking him in the crotch. And we were Luck on dick.
No, like definitely looking back, like we were pricks. Like we were pricks during filming, and it actually like went into setting the sun filming because I'd be like you know, when we were on set, we needed to get things moving, but like there'd be people, you know, playing, and they weren't playing as much as to our extent during Mary's Garden. But like even that much, like, sort of peeved me off. I totally get where Josh was coming from. Honestly.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think the bigger understanding we're getting at here too is like you're gonna be totally open, and I know I'm building up to this too with like editing, and when you're in the room and you're really looking back on everything that's happened, and it's not like you sit down and you put all the footage in and you're like, okay, A goes to this spot, B goes to this spot, C, etc. It's like you see everything.
Yeah.
Everything that went on that day. Everything. It's like nothing's safe. So I'm saying like this is totally fine, and we can open up about this too, because I'll say some stories of my own, but like I especially want to hear from you. Scale 1 to 10. How much did you hate us after you would like finish editing?
Did I hate you guys?
Just like I'm not even saying it like you hate us as people, and it's like generally like, oh no, like I hate those guys or whatever. I'm just saying like when you're sleep deprived and you're absolutely exhausted, you know what I mean?
Nah, there was definitely, I was super frustrated at certain points. But then again, like that's to be expected, you know what I mean? But
I want to hear that. I want to hear like
a specific moment.
Yeah.
I think the one specific that pissed me off. I remember you only pissed me off once. Like truly, like I was just like, bro, this dude's not listening. It was when we were filming the Mason reactions to the play or to the thing, and you just wouldn't do what I was saying. And I was like, bro, just do what I'm saying. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and you just wouldn't. And I remember I told you to do this one thing. And you're like, no, that's too cheesy. I'm like, bro, I need something more. Just give me something than just to stare. And I remember, like, that's the one time that I was like, dude, like piss off, bro. Just fucking, just do what I say, bro. Like, you don't believe what's happening? No. Be like, no. Or like, scream no.
It's cliche, man.
It is hella cliche.
Do you want me to go like,
No, not no, but like don't scream no. Just be like, no.
Well,
that was like the
I
only
get
time.
that. Like, I totally understand that. And, like, what I'm really surprised to hear, though, is that that's when, like, we were filming. That's when we were all doing things. But there wasn't... You don't have anything that really got under your skin when, like, say, you needed me to film and I, like, wasn't there, or say
like...
I was else... Anything like that?
No, because I put everything on myself. That's really, like... I hate depending on other people. So, like, my mindset was, like, if I didn't tell you or if I didn't imply or anything like that, then it's completely 100% on me. And especially with, like, the instructions that I gave out, a lot of the times they were vague. You know what I mean? Like, so, like, again, like, I put everything on me. So, like, I wouldn't say every, but, like, most of the things that were filmed, if it went wrong, I thought it was my fault. So, like, I put, like, 100%, like, of the blame on me. The only things that I truly blamed other people for was, I remember Josh, I would ask him to edit certain things on time so I could see how it like, played out. And he would tell me he did, but he never did. So I'd go over at his house and be like, oh, what's that scene you told me you edited? And he's like, oh, I deleted it. It's like, nah, you didn't delete it. You just didn't do it. You know what I mean? Like, things like that. That's what pissed me off. But, like when I was in the editing room, like editing the narrative, I really wasn't that. Like, I was more concerned of how it was going to turn out than anything, to be honest. I don't know if that's a weird answer, but yeah.
Well, yeah, no, I see where you're coming from, because, like, I had the same kind of deal too, and but that's what I'm frustrated with more than anything else, is I feel like I could have done more in getting group contribution. Because I know that, like, even the way you're putting it, like, the way you're phrasing it, and I'm not saying, like, you're regretful of this, but do you wish at some point that you would put more responsibility on the group rather than yourself? Because I know that is hard, like, to be in the editing room.
It is. Here's the thing. Here's what I realized afterwards, though. I'm not paying you guys. You guys are literally taking the time out of your day to help me with a project. You see what I'm saying? So, like, even if I wanted to be an asshole, I really couldn't. Because, like, you guys ultimately, like, doing me a favor and just helping me with something that I wanted to do. You see what I'm saying? So, like, that's really the mindset that I had. I was like, you know what? That's why, okay, with Josue and John, it was different. That's why I got mad at them, because it was a project for us. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? But with you guys, it was just like, all right, they really don't need to be doing this. They're also an IB. They have a lot of stuff to do. But the fact that they're actually, like, coming and taking the time, you know what I'm saying? Like, that to me spoke volumes. And like, I will forever be grateful for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's great to hear. Like, but, like, at the same time too, is like, I keep. It seems like I keep repeating this whenever you do say what you're saying now, because I know that happened when we were, like, in the middle of trying to get the movie done, or come together on it. I am sincerely, like, I was happy to work on it. I feel like it was fulfilling, and I'd do it all again. You know?
Oh, same, bro.
Oh yeah, and hopefully we do.
Dude, I've been trying to get. Here's what I want to talk about. Here's my gripe. What grinded my gears? Why did you guys not want to do 48 hours with me?
Okay.
Because I got a text from Kat, and she was like, and I was like, oh wow, Kat's texting me. She never really talks to me.
I remember.
You know. And then she was like, by the way, we want to compete against y'all, which at the moment I was like, that's bullshit. They just don't want me in the group. That's fine. Like, just tell me, you know? And so I was like, oh wow. Like, I was kind of hurt, to be honest. I was just like, whoa, like, I didn't do anything to these people. and if anything, I really like tried to like help with setting the sun. I really did, and then you guys just kicked me out of the group. I was like, oh, all right. So that's what I want to know.
Well, okay, we'll have to get to that. Just like really quick, because again, context. I feel like there's so much that we're like brushing over in the audience. People that like have no idea about any of what we're talking about, like if they're just jumping in.
Yeah.
So like, I totally get your point with feeling like there's a burden on you, because I know that even when there are times where like just like random people would wander onto set, I'm like,
Oh my God.
That too though is like, it's like, why are they on my set? Like,
Yeah.
you should know I'm
And
trying to film, but
I
it's
don't
a
know if
public
you
space.
felt this way too, but you kind of
Yeah.
like felt like super weird way to put it, but you felt like the dad of the group as a director. You know what I mean? Like
I
you
remember,
felt-
I think my group even called me dad. I was like, they're like,
but that's
oh,
how
Pop was
that's how
angry
it
or something.
is.
Yeah,
That's
dude, yeah.
That's really how it is, and it's like, so whenever one of y'all would get in trouble, I'd be like, all right, I felt like I needed to defend. You know what I mean? Like, I remember Miss Pardue came up to us, and she kept like, she's like, why are you guys here? Blah 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 blah. And I was like, these are my people. We're filming, all right. And she noticed that we were like serious, and she's like, all right, I'll let you guys go, or some shit like that. That was the one time that I really felt like a dad, because that's how it was, or that's how I really felt like 90% of the time around you guys. The 10% would be like when we were just messing around.
Totally. Well, like, speaking of the, oh my goodness, yeah, there's so many stories that we have yet to get into in terms of like on set mishaps and whatever. Like, I guess we'll address the 48 hour, and then we're jumping around here crazy, but like, but really quick context: 48 hour film project. That's something that happens in cities around America. I'm sure. Well, it's international. All around the world, people compete in a short little contest of about not even 10. I think
7 minutes.
Oh well, I was talking about like the amount of participants, but like it can be as many as you want. Or like as many teams. But point being, yeah. So you have 48 hours. In that time, you have to write a script. You have to shoot it, edit, etc. Pre-production, post, and then you submit it, and you come back together a week later at a local theater, and you get to watch your final product alongside others that have contributed, and then you vote at the end, etc., etc. Great time, really fun thing to do. And for the first 48-hour film project that I'd ever done, we worked with the three of us, and there were a couple other people that worked on Mary's Garden as well. And I remember my story is I had the SATs that I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
So for me it was hard because I wasn't really there, and then I got there, and well, that's the setup basically. We're filming in the same location that we filmed Mary's Garden. And Juan, what was your take on the first 48-hour project?
My take. It was super. I've never done it before, so it was super new. I think the final product was good for what it was, and that's just like a bunch of people who didn't know what they were doing, making
We were all
something.
new. Yeah, it's true.
You know what I mean? Like what angered me the most, though, to be honest, was the fact that Charlton like hogged the camera and he wouldn't let like anybody else film. You know what I mean? Like
Charlton was one of the supervisors. He was the film teacher at the school that we went to.
yeah, like he I love Charlton, but man, like his camera skills were just not there. And so that I think just the lack of involvement of everybody was kind of like AIDS.
It's kind of AIDS.
Paul, what was your take on that? What was your well, Paul, what was your side of the story? What did you do in contribution? What was it like building up to it, etc.?
My side, I believe I was one of the actors. I was like the very first one to
Wait. Before you start, I meant lack of contribution, meaning like, as in like we weren't like allowed, or we didn't have much opportunity to contribute. due to other factors. It's not because you guys didn't do anything. That's what I meant by that.
Well, I
Just
feel
to-
like, well, breaking off what you're saying before you talk, Paul. Like,
Yeah.
in general, we had so many restrictions, and that's just given the environment that we're in. I even do a little disclaimer at the beginning of Setting the Sun, explaining that there were restrictions that forced us into the predicament that we were in. And the final product of what we had was just a testament to what we had to withstand. Hence why Steve in Mary's Garden, who is a supervisor, our English teacher, hence why I believe you had to cut out a scene because he wouldn't participate. Is that what happened?
Which
In the killing scene?
Steve. Oh, you're talking about Charlton?
No, RP.
Oh. No, RP just... Honestly, I just didn't ask RP for much. That's the reason he didn't really participate too much. I just didn't ask him to be in it too much. Because, like... Because he was... The one thing I really liked about RP was that he was always willing to help. And I really appreciated that, but his character was, like, pointless. That I really didn't see a need for him to be in it too much.
I think he's like totally... I thought he was the most important character because he's the origin of evil. He's... Wait, well...
No.
He's stepfather.
He's the stepdad, yeah.
He's the... Well, he's the guiding force. He's what juxtaposes Michael. He's one of the characters that is directly involved as a foil to his character.
But how I saw it was like it felt too stereotypical. You know what I mean? And the focus.
I thought the entire movie was a stereotype. I thought you said all your characters were like...
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, it felt like it was too stereotypical. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it felt like just... Because I wanted the movie to feel like a high school movie, but I also didn't want it to be like a drama. You know what I mean? Like, that was not my intention with it. You see what I'm saying?
So what was
sorry,
like
but
Steve's stereotype? Like, what was he stereotyping?
Paul, give me a second. I'm sorry, but I gotta go in. I gotta crush the left wing. But if you're saying that it would be cheesy like a drama, are you saying Setting the Sun is cheesy because it's a drama?
No. No. I didn't say it was cheesy because it was drama. I said it was cheesy because it was too... Did you zoom in on yourself? I said it was cheesy because it felt like a regular high school movie. A high school movie. Setting a drama... In Mary's Garden was not a drama. It was like a thriller sense, like... psychological horror. That's what I wanted it to be. You know what I mean? And we had a lot of scenes that, you know, was just pure dialogue. Like, a lot of them. So I didn't want it to be, you know, because one of my biggest influences for that movie was The Walking Dead. And so, you know how The Walking Dead, it's like 80% it's like talking, the rest is like actual action. I didn't want it to go down exactly like that. And so that's what I mean by that. Setting the Sun, its genre was like a drama. Like, you know what I mean? That's the genre. So I didn't expect like any action-packed scenes or anything like that. You know what I mean?
So you didn't want to take away from the genre that the tone it was going for.
Exactly. Wow, you summed it up in like 3 words.
Well, I'm just synthesizing what you told me. I'm taking it in, trying to...
No, I know. Like, it took me forever to explain it, and then it took you like 2 seconds.
Well, no. It's like I'm a product of what you give me. I take your words, your film. And that's what film is for me. It's like it's just you take it in and you make a meme out of it.
Hey, well, fuck all that sentimental shit. I'm interested now in that it was influenced by The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
I thought
it was...
What other like influences did you get? Like I thought it was more like you had Alfred Hitchcock as like your key.
Yeah. So Alfred Hitchcock is probably like my favorite. I wouldn't say my favorite director, but my favorite like what he does is I strive to be more like him than anybody else. You know what I mean? So like I'm in love with Psycho. I love that shit. So like the psychological horror aspect was heavily influenced by that, but in terms of telling the way to tell the story, I've always loved the way The Walking Dead kind of like uses like the super close cuts, the the slow kind of paced dialogue scenes with like the kind of like the awkward silences just to get a point across. It was influenced by The Walking Dead. Like that's why there were a lot of dialogue scenes, because in The Walking Dead there's a lot of dialogue scenes. Like, you guys remember the scene between Michael and Mason? They're in front of the auditorium and they're like just talking, and Mason kind of just blows them off.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that was.
Insert clip. Boom.
But are you telling me right now you don't think I'm doing anything for the group? Is that what you're
No,
trying
I'm
to
just
say?
saying I'm not the Justin Timberlake of this group. You are. So you need to, be there.
That was what's it called? That was a scene purely based on dialogue to represent like Mason's like attitude towards something. You know what I mean? Even if it's like someone he considers a friend, as he's willing to get it done. You know what I mean? That's really what I mean by inspired by The Walking Dead. Not like the zombie shit. Like you know. But yeah.
Did Bobby really die? Was Bobby
Zombie.
actually Glenn?
No, Bobby didn't die. Bobby. Dude, we don't even know who's all dead. I know for a fact I want to keep Mason alive for sure. I want to keep Mason alive. I want to keep Ariana dead though. Not because I hate the actress.
Oh.
But I feel like Mason should have something. Mason, like his tipping point. I feel like if there is a sequel to Mary's Garden, if there is, which I'm 100% down to do, Mason's what's it called, turning point in his character should be Ariana. You know?
Kill her.
Do I kill Ariana?
Kill the demon.
Kill her, Mason.
Kill the child.
End it now. What is taken? Kill her!
Kill her.
But no, that's very interesting information. Like I didn't know that. Something new that I learned from Mary's Garden. It's dope. But getting back into 48 Hours.
Yeah, Paul, we cut you off.
We touching back. We bouncing back. I think I was an actor. The very first one to grace the screen. But other than that, like I don't even remember.
You did the music for it.
Oh, that's right. I did do the music for it.
Yeah. Which was amazing, dude. I loved it. I think that was the best part of the movie, was the music.
Thank you.
For sure.
Thank you.
For sure.
I did the music, but like between that, I was kind of like just dallying around, just looking at how the scenes went.
Do you remember that second day we were in Charlton's room the entire day, just me and you, working on the movie?
Yeah.
Like you were working, and I was just feeding you scenes, and you were like, "All right, let me make something real quick."
Yeah.
Which, by the way,
Remember.
this is one thing that I hated the decision that I made was the fact that I edited the film. Like, I don't know why I chose to edit, and I should have let Zach edit for sure.
But you're like, Sony Vegas is better. I'm like, I don't know Sony Vegas.
Well, cause like, honestly, you know what I should have done? The one scene that I actually like wanted it to edit myself was the drugged up scene. Like, cause I knew how to do it at that effect, and I knew like if I was trying to explain it to you, like me personally couldn't get the right words out, and I should have just like edited that part and then left the rest up to you, to be honest. Cause I don't know, I'm not that good of an editor.
Juan, if you're gonna do a drugged up scene, just you overlay previous frames and lower the opacity, and it creates this sort of dazed it's like this aftershock effect of like they were in one place but now they're elsewhere and they're swaying, and then you bring up the low pass. No, you bring down the low pass so it sounds muffled, and you gradually go lower and lower, and you bring down the bro.
That's basically what I did, bro.
Maybe, just maybe, if you came to me first, and were like, "Do you know how to do this?" I would have been like, "Yes, I do." Man, My
I know.
dude, I know. But
I know that was my biggest thing. But you
Oh
also
my
got. I think what I was thinking at the time was like, I'm probably never gonna do this again. That was my thought
what?
process. I'm probably never gonna actually have like a group experience. So let me like try to get the most juice out of this as I can. That's really all it was.
All right.
I think
Oh,
that
yeah.
goes back to a theme. I'm sorry, Paul. One quick thing. I want to tidy up.
I want to get in on some juicy deets, man. Go ahead.
Abort night, Paul. Abort. But well, no, but just like really quick. I guess a thing that I want to address is a problem I had too. Is I wouldn't know if I could go to people, and I didn't know if their skill set allowed them to do X, Y, Z. So I kept like questioning whether or not I should go straight to Paul and be like, "Yo, do you know how to do this?" And then eventually I just kind of bit the bullet, and I was like, Paul, and I had you edit the scene with me and Victor. And I mean, like, of course it was rough edits,
Yeah.
like just cut here, and I mean, like, the entire movie was just a game of how to fill in shots, or like what cutaways I could utilize, and how I could manipulate audio, so it didn't get jacked up. There were so many behind the scene problems that I feel like we'll get into it at a later time. But regardless, what I want to say is the point being is sometimes you don't know who to go to, or if you should even, because of pride, because you're too.
Oh yeah, that was something that was, I feel like, was one of my biggest weak points. Is like I had too much pride to admit something was better than I thought. Like, what's it called? Like some of the shots in Mary's Garden, I was like, fuck, this is good, but it wasn't me, so it was like, fudge, you know what I mean? Like, damn, like I should have thought of that or whatever. So I kept like, it was never like me wanting to be better than someone. It was always like, why didn't I think of it, type thing.
And alongside like what you're saying too, just last thing is the fact that the more you give away of your project, that's the thing too, is the ownership of it, and saying that this is something that I'm working on, it's mine. So the more I work on it, the more it's still mine. But then if you don't collaborate, then it may never get done. And alongside that, there's that pride, that idea that if I tell Paul to edit that scene and I watch that scene back, that's no longer mine. I can't take ownership of something that I didn't work on, you know?
Yeah.
But I can still be proud of what's done, and this isn't at all me saying that I'm not happy with Barry's Garden because I didn't edit. I'm not happy with 48 Hour because I didn't edit, or it's like I'm not happy with what I'm not a part of. But I think that's the problem, is that not the problem, but that's the answer, is the fact that even when I'm not there and I'm not a part of it, I still feel attached to it at the end of the day, you know. So I think that's something I had to learn, at least, is the fact that even if I'm not directly associated with something and I'm more or less a void, it's what I interpret from that void in a philosophical sense that means all the more to me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I'm the same way, I think. And that's the thing, like, I'm sorry, Paul. Let's go with...
yeah,
No. You go ahead.
But,
No.
You guys-
I was just...
No, like my thing is gonna like detract all the way across. You finish up this thought.
It's another topic.
Final,
yeah, like,
final thought on this.
wrap up. Yeah.
To hop on your point, like, I thought... because here's the thing. Ego is also a huge thing. Ego goes hand in hand with pride. You know what I mean? And I don't know if you remember, I was kind of an ass. Like, I would say like that I was the best filmmaker, this and that, and I truly believed it, but it was never a competition way. It was more of a let's get everybody else involved, because I know it would, like, at least Brandy, I know the only reason she worked so hard on her film was to shut me up. You see what I'm saying? And that's really what I wanted. I wanted people to for people to like bring out like their best work. So then we could be like, all right, this is what IB film is all about, or what film in general is all about. It's like people getting together and just creating the best thing they can, you know? And that's why I really was really took on this persona of like an asshole. Because I feel like I was two different people. Like to Charlton in Charlton's class, I was like this arrogant asshole who just claimed he was the best ever or whatever. It was so stupid. But when we were working like us, I feel like I was a lot more like I gave credit to a lot more people than just myself. You know what I mean? Like I would never take credit for like completely. You know. But that's what I wanted to say.
That's a good footnote. Yeah. So. Paul?
All right, Paul.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna go back on the 48-hour road trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, totally. Yeah.
I was gonna say like so in terms of like our Mary's Garden friend group, we were quite close and whatnot. But like, how'd you feel about our 48-hour friend group? Like the main antagonist.
Dude, honestly, I watched the 48-hour thing. I
like,
thought it was funny.
No, like
I
in
liked
our
it.
during when we were working.
What do you mean?
Like our main antagonist, Doctor whatever.
Dr. Jagger, your new post-op stat.
What's his name?
When
Dr. Lloyd Jaggery.
Dr.
Jaggerty?
Jaggerty, yeah,
What
the character.
What about him? The character,
or like the actor that played the character? How'd you feel about him?
I really liked him as like, cause I don't know, I felt like he was he was very smart. Like, I really enjoyed talking to him. I liked him. Why? Did you guys not like him?
We have mixed feelings on this one.
Why?
We felt there were certain moments of like we didn't feel safe, or like one person in our group didn't feel safe with him.
Cat?
No names thrown around here, but like there were moments in the the shot where he, you know what he's supposed to do in the scene. It's essentially like to give context. So there's a doctor that abuses his patient sexually through a drug, and our main character seeks her revenge against this said doctor by quite literally giving him a taste of his own medicine. Ha 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 ha.
Bro, real quick. Dose of Revenge was something that I hated the title. I'm not gonna lie. I know
Assault.
you came up with it, but I hated
Who
that
is-
title.
Me, I came up with the Dose of Revenge.
Yes, but you were also like super sick. So like I think you just wanted to name it something.
I don't even know if there was like a title fit enough for that, cause it was like, it was alright. So we were having conflicts with like the antagonist, cause there were moments where they like our protagonist didn't feel safe, like our actress, because there
Our
was,
femme fatale.
yeah, the femme fatale. Oh yeah, it was a femme fatale as well. So she essentially.
Bro, what is that? What was that movie? To be honest, just in general.
This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Like,
that's kind of like.
We'll put a
what we're-
link in. Is it up on YouTube? Like,
It's
do you have a
not.
link to it?
I have
what
it.
I'm
I got it on Google Drive.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I sent it to you on the Google.
Yeah, I got it.
We're
I think.
we need to upload it so we can give some context to what we're talking about here as well.
It's funny because Kat came up to me with the same problem. She was like, "Yo, I feel uncomfortable." She never like sounded like she was like genuinely scared of the guy, but she sounded super uncomfortable. And that's why I kind of wanted to play the doctor or any of us, cause like I felt like she wouldn't have been as uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But just honestly, just editing that movie was uncomfortable. Just like looking at the
Oh,
like, I don't know if you remember, but I literally stayed up until like 3 a.m, like writing the film. Do you remember that? Like when my job was who thought that was a good idea, by the way?
what, writing
Who
it?
thought-
Was that you?
Dude, are
Wasn't
you
that you?
kidding me?
It wasn't my idea to write it. Charlton,
I said I would write it. I was like, I'll write the script, and you're like, no, dude, I'll write it. Don't worry. You have testing tomorrow.
Did I-
Let me take care of it.
oh, that's probably why I did it. Then.
It is.
If you
It is
didn't-
why.
If you didn't have, bro, I promise you, if you didn't have testing, I would have definitely let you write that movie, bro.
All right, out of the podcast. Testing didn't even matter. Anyway, back in the podcast. But it meant nothing. Testing meant nothing. I'm just saying, I totally would have been down to write it. Dang it.
Yeah,
That's
no.
whose idea it was, Juan.
I don't think it was mine. I think Charlton wanted me to write it, and so I was like, okay. I really don't think it was mine. Like, like I'm being so serious. It wasn't my idea to write it. I don't like writing, bro. I didn't even write like. I didn't even like.
God damn it.
Yikes! Yikes!
All right, but that established. So, Juan, you're up till 3 a.m. writing, and
just long story short, it was like the most uncomfortable thing I've done, bro. Because I kept trying to picture Kat in like because the idea was her wearing a red dress, because that like film noir thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, like I was trying to picture her in a red dress and like looking all sexy and whatever, and it was like the most uncomfortable thing I've ever done in my life. No offense, but like I love Kat, she's cool, but like looking at her in that way is just so weird, you know?
That's weird, bro.
imagine if you're Lloyd Jaggery.
I want to ask whose idea was it for like that dude to play the doctor?
It was
his?
Charlton, bro. It was Charlton. I remember that. Because like he looked the creepiest is what Charlton said.
Why did Charlton play?
Why did he have that idea?
Literally, Charlton said he would be the only one fit enough to play a rapist. That's what Charlton
Oh
said.
my
What?
goodness.
But you were the
Charlton.
child killer. You killed the child. You could have been. No.
I would have much rather been the antagonist than editor. Much rather.
I don't know. The script in general freaked me out. I read it, or like I saw it, and I was like, I don't know if I wanna have my face as any of these characters, because there's a drug dealer, there's a rapist.
By the way, yeah. What? Like, this movie took. So it started off with who knows what Bobby's character was. Like, because I feel like that's who you played. You played Bobby in that movie. Like, why was Bobby in this movie?
That's what I was saying. I was like, I honestly didn't know why I was the first one that the audience saw. They saw poor old
Insert a
Bobby.
clip.
So I got a 69. I rounded my grade
got a
up. I
69.
was like, what?
Perfect. Why are
Do
you
you
dubbing
remember
it?
filming that when Kat did not, bro? Kat does not know how to like improvise. So she kept talking about Lil
Are we
Uzi
just
Vert and
roasting
like
everyone
rappers, bro.
now?
I
That
was
shit was
like,
so funny, bro.
I remember that. I was like I just kind of like got thrown up there. I think with like, and then they were like, say something, and I was like, what? And I said that, and then you guys kept it. You guys kept that footage.
It
Your
was so-
editors, the editors are the last stage. You guys should have been like, we gotta
They are.
reshoot this bit. You guys see
It was
everything.
funny
The
as
all-seeing eye.
Bro, we couldn't reshoot anything, bro.
That's true. That's true. I think that should have been just cut out.
Let's
that
talk.
should've.
Let's talk about why I wasn't in y'all's group.
I think.
Why was I?
Well, we're
kicked
building
out?
up to that.
I think
we're building
yeah,
up to that.
it's like building up. So like you can kind of tell, we did like hanging out with
we
you.
were with the Mary's
before
Garden
you-
group.
Oh yeah, what?
Like, well, we were with the Mary's Garden group, and then
Yeah.
now it was like we're the setting sun, you know. So it was like we should, you know. I think it was just the idea that we were all together, like we had chemistry, like working together, as a unit, and then we just figured we'd carry on. Otherwise, like I feel like Juan, if you were with our group, it would have been like mixed. Like you and I would have been like co-directing, you know.
Mhm.
We had like 2,
And
3
then-
extra people who didn't really know you that well. There wouldn't
Yeah.
have been like,
Like-
as much fluidity and charisma, I guess, regarding like
Gotcha.
their acting.
See, I thought
And-
you guys
and
didn't
even-
like me. Like deadass, I really thought you guys.
Oh my
like,
God.
Oh my god.
No, like I don't want to sound dramatic, but that's really what I thought. Like I was like, oh wow, like cool. Like I was like,
Yeah.
all right. I mean, I didn't really do anything to these people, but okay.
You can be the femme fatale to my Lloyd Jaggery anytime.
No. That's the way it goes, sweet cakes.
We were really trying to like distance ourselves with like sort of Charlton and the school in a sense too, because like I guess you
That
can
too,
take
yeah.
in like how we felt about the 48 hours at that time. Like it was great working with you and whatnot, but like overall,
Nah,
the
I
48
get
hour
it,
experience that year was like just something to look back on, and just it was kind of bad. And like we didn't want that same situation to happen again. What with Charlton, and if that
The
dude was gonna
restrictions
show
of
up
it all.
again.
I get it. Like I don't blame y'all. I was just, I don't know. Like, I think what pissed me off the most is that like, you guys were my group and I really wanted to do it that year. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so like last second, everything was canceled. I couldn't do it. So I couldn't pay for it myself. I didn't have a group. Like the only person that was willing to do it was James, and James was in the Navy. So he was hours away. So that's what I was pissed about. I was just like, all right, cool. I guess I won't do it. But yeah.
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 I mean, but that's basically our answer. I mean, there's no hard feelings. We just kind of had our own thing going, and even that had its own fun to it. Insert a clip.
Okay. Gotta get up. Oh, get up.
That was a clip of Victor's bare butt.
Hey.
Hey. So
No, I'm not gonna lie. I really liked the 48 Hour film. I watched yours, like Black Karate Kid. That shit was funny as fuck. I'm not gonna lie.
awesome. Hey, thank you.
There was this one part that I try, because I normally when I watch movies, I try to picture like in the editing room how you do it. And I know it involved the green screen, but like the camera pulled down to the hands and like transition to a different location. That shit was fire. Like I remember watching it and I was like, oh damn, this is actually, because I low-key kind of wanted to hate it for a second because I wasn't part of it. So I low-key wanted to hate it. Yeah, I low-key wanted to hate it, but I was like, this is too good. I can't hate this. Like, this is good.
Some of the technicals though were painful as hell to do, because like that hand thing and background story on like filming and stuff. I was stuck in the editing chair and I had my laptop, which didn't have good enough RAM. Like it just wasn't good for editing. But I was at Paul's house, which is like half an hour from my house, and I didn't have any of the green screen shots in play, so I was like, I need you guys to go back to where you were so we can get the water going, blah 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 blah, so I can get those shots. And then I don't know what happened, and Paul, you may want to fill in the blanks here, but when they got them, they came back, all the green screen footage was like the shot with his hand specifically. Oh my god, I remember that being a nightmare.
One second. Alright, I'm back.
Okay. Well, but I just remember I had to scale in on the hands and like manually follow his hands and then crop certain bits because the green screen wasn't aligned properly.
Yeah.
And I only had like a few, not a few frames. It wasn't that bad, but I only had like a second or two of his hands in one spot that was completely green screened. And that was the good one, mind you.
Really? It wasn't like
For real. It would overlap on like the background. Like the green screen was just laid on the ground, and then his hands just like the parallax or like the camera would like show a bit of the background behind the green screen. Like it would just kind of shift a little bit.
Yeah.
So my field of view would get his hands and then just like a bit of the ground, which wouldn't key away. So I was like, I only have a tiny bit to work with here. Even that was the better one, because then if you watch the movie, of course, there's the bit where you guys are standing there and the green screen is just like shuddery and terrible looking, and then there's the bit where he's raising, and that's bad. But I feel like I could have, you know what we should do? Yeah.
We should take a day or two, or how about this? We should take a week to do everything that we meant to do for our films and reshoot it.
I'm gonna need a lot more than a week, dude. I'm gonna need a lot more than a week. If we're talking about setting the sun as well, because this is what I haven't talked about in the podcast. There are scenes that I haven't shot, like entire bits that are just gone from the character building. And people say that like a lot of the stuff is very ambiguous. I write in a very ambiguous manner. However, everything serves a point, and it's not like key details were missing, but there are certain bits that I know would have amplified some of the storytelling techniques. Like, I know the entire freaking movie off the top of my head. I guarantee you, I could tell you, if you tell me even like a tiny detail from Mary's Garden, I'll know it. I'll know exactly what the scene was, what we were talking about. And same with 48 Hour, but in Setting the Sun, there were 3 off the top of my head that were totally gone. 1, the blood van, that was going to be a whole thing. Like, he walks the blood van, and I
That should have been a thing.
It would have been. It would have been great.
You know what my gripe was? I think a lot of the character, not like the character. I think going back to writing, because this is strictly on writing. I think the way you wrote it was like you tried to put metaphors on top of metaphors on top of metaphors. You know what I mean? Like to the point where it was just like, what are you talking about? At certain points, I was just like, bro, like, what?
Well, like, what specifically do you have a question about? Like, what metaphor then, if you were to pick one out?
I'm just saying in general, like, because a lot of the movie I didn't really understand. Like, I didn't really know exactly what was supposed to... I didn't know if I should have rooted for the main character or things, and you know what I'm saying? Like,
no.
Because it was... What's it called? Because the main character seemed like an ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then again, I felt like that was the purpose, to show, like, just, like, different viewpoints. You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt in a sense... But then Kat's character, like, why was she there? You know what I mean? Like...
Well, Catherine was an escapist route for our protagonist, because he felt snared to his relationship with Angela, however much he rooted for her, and she was a projection of all that he wanted, because and like you're saying too, like, our protagonist is an ass. He's insecure, and anybody that's listening and people that I know I've talked to in life, I think that is one sort of attribute to people that I absolutely dislike. And I understand if you're introverted. Like, I get it if, like, you're shy, nervous, etc. That's one thing. But if you're insecure and you act on insecurity...
Bro, facts.
Yeah, that's terrible. Because then you put people in danger. You put yourself in danger because you're not being true to who you are. And that's why our protagonist seems to go for the quote-unquote exotic foreign girl who doesn't talk, who is an easy target for him. So, you see what I'm getting at?
Yeah, no, I like the idea of it. I do.
And yeah, and well, what's funny too though is that storyline was going to be something entirely different. Like, it was going to be her own movie, but then I thought, well, I could see that character working in this one, and then it just kind of grew from there. But that's just to answer that question about quote unquote foreign girl.
I felt like Angela's character. Angela's what was her face? Maggie, right?
Majdoulen?
Yeah.
Maggie.
Okay. Just make sure I got the right name. I felt like that character was like wasn't necessary. Cause like I felt like it detracted more from Perso than it did help, or not help, but like explain more who he was. You know what I mean? Because I feel like that, at least the way that movie went, I feel like if you focus on more on that dynamic, you know how you said the Cat's character and was supposed to be its own movie thing?
Yep.
I feel like that would have been cool. Like, I honestly genuinely feel like that should have been the way it was, but then again, that's just my take on it. Like, how I would do it, and how I would do it, it's not necessarily the way to do it. You know what I mean?
Well, I think it was a short film that became a subplot, basically. It was going to be its own thing.
1 second.
Yep.
How about this?
Yep.
Why did I say that? I wanted to go into what I liked about Setting the Sun real quick, because I felt like how I genuinely felt was what I saw. What I saw was more of like a glimpse of what you wanted to do. At least that's what I took from it. Because I knew, like, with all the freaking problems, like the audio, like I knew that like your movie needed dialogue. You see what I'm saying? Like it was heavily centered around dialogue. And that's the one thing that was like just like you couldn't control. So like what I liked about it was the what's it called? When
sorry. I gotta pause real quick.
Yeah.
Oh, yep. What's up?
Haha, I'm not the only one. Oh, I should plug real quick.
Oh my. Okay.
All right.
I'm making
Boss headphones.
a
Oh.
musical project.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
Like y'all thought, y'all thought I was joking. I remember I put it on my story. I was making an album, and people thought I was joking, but I'm really not. Like I'm actually like trying. It's not good, but I'm trying.
Yeah, that's dope. Honestly, I've wanted to do a musical for a long time. I feel like it would be great to expand like our film knowledge and just that vein.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, be on the lookout for that. I don't know what it's gonna be called, but it's gonna be Flames. Just kidding. It probably won't be, but that yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Fire
Anyway.
emoji.
Are we plugging in things that we're doing?
I was gonna
Well,
wait till
wanted
the
to get
end, but
into,
Juan is plugging.
what I really like appreciated about Zach's film, because I feel like no one, at least besides us, the one who's done it, like really truly appreciated what was actually done. Like,
That's why there's a podcast where we try and explain like what happens.
yeah, like
What has happened.
the nightmare scene was probably like it was just so well, like it was so well done in terms of like the idea of it, and just like, again, audio was an issue,
Oh yeah.
but it was just so well like executed in terms of like the idea of it, like when he walks in and he sees everyone just like laughing, like that shit was just like, to me at least, that's what gathered my interest in the film. That's when like the film actually took me, and like me wanted to pay attention, because like it was just so different from the rest of the movie.
Oh yeah.
And like it was no, I don't want to say a breath of fresh air, but it was more like, okay, this guy's actually like going through something, you know what I mean? Like this guy actually has problems. He's not just an ass, you know what I mean?
I'll
And
feed that
like
too, because it's Aronofsky inspired. Like the midpoint being the turning point of the character.
Yeah, and it was dope, because like you said, it really like highlighted him being insecure. You know, he truly cared what other people thought, in a way, you know. So like I remember watching that, and I remember like, because Kat was sitting next to me, and I was like nudging Kat, and I was like, oh shit, he's doing it, he's doing his thing. I was like, yeah. So like I was like, overall though, like I was just like proud, just like I was like, damn, this is dope. And like the music was just like amazing. Like, to be honest, like I wish I would have asked you to do the music for Mary's Garden.
I love doing the nightmare scene, like just seeing that come to fruition. And I remember, Zach knows, like when we were filming that shit was it was cold.
Oh my god.
It was unbearably cold, and I just remember like we had
This sort of clip.
we had just like these small victories, like the one with the focus on the dog tag. I remember getting so hyped up when Zach was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Yeah."
That was dope.
Like,
I still love that. That's
and
that's one of my favorite shots of the entire movie.
I remember
the focusing on that. I learned so much from just that shot.
Because that was like my first time really working deep into like film scores and whatnot. And when I had the music for like, it was like these metallic pipes, but they're woodwind too. They were synthesized, and I was like, all right, let me try this out. And then Zach was like, hell yeah, that shit sounds good. I was like, yes. And then I just worked my way up there.
It was
no
so
idea,
good,
like,
bro.
Thank you.
Like,
when I was editing,
thank you.
Like, honestly, when I was in the trenches and like I was at the end of my rope like multiple times. I remember I would just, and I'm totally straight up. Like, I'll be straight up. I'm terrible with compliments, but like genuinely, I remember I would stop editing sometimes, and I'd just go to the sound clips, like the music files you'd give me, and I just listen to like each one, and I was just like, all right, I'll keep going.
Bro, that's like what drove me to, like, in my own experience in Mary's Garden, just like listening to like music. Like, I don't know who I told, but like I listened to a lot of X, and like his depressing stuff. Like that shit drove the film. Like that really the vibe of the movie.
It like really got me though when I was like, this is what, well, like especially when I finished the scene, and for me it's easy just putting music in, and it's like, oh, just click drag, but like for Paul, I know like you really structured it, and it was fantastic. Like, you'd watch the scene over, and that's like legitimate. That's what professionals do. They watch it and they see the beats of the scene, And one of my favorites is like we were talking about earlier with the foreign girl, the math scene, and the way that you could construct his character just purely with audio and the subtle like that entire that was perfect. That was so great. And then
it was
and I was doing my thing, you know.
But being able to like put it in and like just
that's
like,
what made A Dose of Revenge decent. Like everything else was awful, but like the music was great.
Why you gotta do that one? Dose of Revenge was there. It was a movie, dude.
I'm sorry. I'm just very critical of like myself.
I liked it though. That's why like I would come into like film through the music, because like it's another like form of storytelling. If not just the visuals and the writing, but also there's an emotional side to it that'll capture the fucking character, and just it'll give it more XP is what I'm saying. Like plus 10 defense, plus 10
level up.
You know what I'm saying? That's what the music
it's
does.
It's like the movie is the health, the music, slurp juice.
Get some minis. No music, get some minis.
I still don't know what that means, bro. I asked if nobody responded.
We gotta get you on that Fortnite song. I'll link that.
Fortnite! What's the point of the ticket? Alright, anyway.
Okay.
But like, yeah, dude, I mean, that was great. Like, just even like, because it's one thing watching the scene over, even like, because I would do it without audio, and I'd listen to podcast, and I'd just do the visual editing, and then like you watch the entire scene over, and you're like, okay, it flows. Then I listen to the audio, everything's scuffed, everything's terrible, but like whatever. So it's like it's all there at least. At the very least, the bare bones are there. And then I put the music, and I'm like, this is a movie.
Hey.
Like, yeah. But I remember there was a comment, and I think Juan and we talked about this earlier as well. But like music it's a double-edged sword as well, because I wish there was more ambiance now. Like in retrospect, I would have totally and that was my bad, because like it's just like you said, it was like you sent me some files, just simple notes, simple melodies, and you just put that in the background, and it, even with this podcast, what's the music playing right now? Oh, it's Baby Shark. So it's like really good for setting the tone.
Baby Shark.
Oh.
No, yeah, sometimes it becomes too much like a music video. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. That's what frustrates me too. Is like, sometimes people get overly, like, what is it?
Scratches my head.
This is a podcast, Juan. They can't see us.
But that's why I narrated.
Okay, but like Paul, like what you're talking about is like people get over invested in the music, and then they start basing the movie off of the music, and it's like, why? It's just a music video at that point. I'm sorry, like Juan, I see you making those eyes. I'm not coming for you or anything, but like,
no, it's just.
I did the same
I feel like you are. I'm just kidding. Not cause like the way I.
What just happened?
Part of my process when I'm writing is like I listen to music, and whatever pops into my head, I dive into that. You see what I'm saying? Like that's how I gather a lot of inspiration. Like I wouldn't say I would build it around that song, but I would say like sometimes like listening to like depressing things would actually like pop a scene or some sort of idea in my head, and then later I'd be like, all right, what can I do based off of that? You see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, we were talking about it on a podcast earlier about how people make metaphors out of music they listen to, and I think it's one thing to create a metaphor for the music, but it's another thing if you interpret the music and then output said emotions for yourself. That's cyclical. That's what art should be.
Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that. Like it's what you interpret from the music itself, and in other ways, it's like another form of creation itself. There's like a certain extent to which you're like emotionally manipulating what the audience is feeling through that music, but of course that's like what the music is overall. But there's like a certain barrier, like a certain line that you just pass. I think the only thing I can think about is the Thanos theme song from the Avengers.
Did you guys like that movie? Did you enjoy it?
It was a good Marvel movie.
I'm excited to see what the next one's gonna do, but
I really liked it. Like, I watched it in the movie theater like 3 times. I kid you not. I really spent like $24 watching it.
Hey, that's better than when I spent $48 on Despicable Me 3. Man.
Are you serious?
I did. I had to
Brought the
take
whole
the
family.
whole family was with me, bro.
Family night out. Despicable Me 3. Oh brother, am I right?
Yes, my cousin.
No, I'm saying no,
Huh?
dude. The plot of Despicable Me 3.
Oh.
His brother.
Oh, I thought you meant I brought my whole family out there with my brother. Oh no, yeah, that's he has a twin brother. His Michael to his Mason.
Can we get into this? Can we get into Despicable Me 3? Juan, you saw it, right? You've seen it.
No.
Boy, look what I'm on right now. I got a Minions fucking blanket, bro. I don't know if y'all can see it.
I can see it.
Nice. Yep. Well, anyway,
I'm on
so,
that shit.
On the topic of Minions, Juan, you can just like we'll mute your mic the entire time. Paul, we can talk about Minions now. That's what we've been gunning to talk about: Fortnite and Minions.
Isn't bananas sort of like cannibalism for them? Because they just look
What?
like bananas.
So because they look like
Controversial
bananas.
topic here. Why are they eating
Oh.
bananas?
Juan, are you being racist right now?
Oh shit, I am. I forgot. This is PC-13. Politically correct 13.
Especially like if you're talking about fictional characters like that, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave the podcast. And right now, Juan's not even talking, and you're not going to be talking, so I'll just talk to myself. Y'all blacklisted. Off.
Blacklisted
Abort.
on this podcast. Alright. Abort night.
But back to what we were talking about. I'll reciprocate.
Yeah.
Mary's Garden. I think that's something I really appreciate, and I wish I could get more of. Is the idea of improvising with your actors and getting more natural sort of influx of expression. Because at times, same thing. I felt like with Setting the Sun, everything was very stiff, and the dialogue was just kind of stagnant. There wasn't really any character behind it.
Right, it's like when you write it, you think it's like the greatest thing, but then as soon as like people say it, it's like, wow, this is actually low-key kind of ass. Like did that ever happen to you? Because it happens to me a lot.
But I'm.
She's like, no, you're just a shitty
The thing
writer.
with me though is that like, my whole deal with Setting the Sun is that like, I enjoy writing above all else, and I think at the end of the day, I'm just going to maintain like writing status. And I don't know if I'm gonna do this with every project I work on. I don't think I will, but at least with Setting the Sun, I treated that kind of like a character. Well, it was a character study. It was totally a character study, like a biopic on James Perceau, Andre Perceau, and the nature of American high school students, or students in general, in America. And that's what the entire narrative was revolving around. So I treated filming much like a study, for it was a character study. So that's why at times I felt like I would get too invested, and it's that line.
It's also like it's so hard to be like to get into a character when you're also
for sure.
directing.
Oh my god, yeah.
And you're also so like that's why I'm so like upset. Like if I could redo Mary's Garden, I would, like, honestly, because like I'm so upset at how like my performance for Michael came out. Like I look back and I'm just like, damn, like I didn't portray the correct or like the emotions as well as I wanted to. And it's because I was like so many things, like at once. Like I really couldn't. It's like
I've learned this other thing too, where like people have told me that I overacted, and I feel like people could say the same thing about your acting, and that's what kind of frightens me is how subjective acting is. I think it's
You know what I think it is?
That,
you know what I think it is?
Yeah. What?
I think it's because I think acting is as good as the people around you. You see what I'm saying? Like, Cause
that chemistry.
think of it like this. Say when I was screaming in your face, right? That scene, I felt like that was probably the best acting I did in that movie.
Oh.
The screaming in your face, right?
I am nothing like him! Do you hear me? Nothing.
Imagine if Kat was there, or if Ariana was there, right? Like, would I have
Like their character?
Yeah, like, or them as actors. Would I have been?
Okay.
Would I have done it as well, or like if I did the exact same, would the same message, be portrayed, or would it just be like me, just some weirdo screaming at an innocent little girl? See what I'm saying? It's
well, yeah. Also, with,
you see
with
what I'm
like,
saying?
the movie,
it depends on who, on like who's interacting. You know what I mean? Like, in terms of acting for Setting the Sun, I don't think it was the acting as much as it was the rough cuts. Because I think what Setting the Sun did a lot was it jumped from one shot to another way too quickly and way too abrupt at times. So, like, I remember the one part where you made fun of Paul, or something like that, and like the girl was like, because he's Asian, blah blah blah, or he said he's good at math or something. Like, it was super racist. And then you shut the door and you
I
scream.
haven't forgotten anyone. Yeah.
I thought the acting itself was decent. It was good. It's just the way it was just so awkwardly placed, and that's when I feel like that's what people, what's it called? Say that you overacted. But I personally don't think you overacted consistently. I think what it was is it was awkwardly placed at moments that it took away from, the scene, and it highlighted the acting.
I would,
You know what I mean?
I think that's, I'm not one for saying I would do anything ever again, like, or over again. Like, I want to redo, or I'm really regretful of anything. However, in retrospect and looking back on the movie, I really wish, and we did towards the end to an extent, I really wish that we had more one-shots, because every shot in the movie was record, a few seconds, done, and then we'd go to another shot.
Yeah.
We'd do that shot over and over again, and I would storyboard everything, and we would say, like, these are all medium shots, let's get all the medium shots done here, and we'd shoot out of order, and it worked for efficiency's sake, but
It's like,
if we had just done one takes and we had gotten our lines down, it would have made everything so much more organic.
yeah.
Because then that's
That's
when
what-
the national progression of like the scene comes into play.
Yeah.
Because if you take out like parts and parts, it's like if the characters themselves don't have a good understanding of the scene and how the pacing's gonna go, it just kind of falls into like what that awkward state was. I would assume.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think now where the fault in that problem was. Because, like, we were the complete opposite in that sense. Everything in Mary's Garden was one shot. Just every single scene. I don't know if you remember. We literally had to memorize the entire scene because we were going to shoot it in one take. And granted, what's it called? It helped with fluidity, but it also sucked with acting. You see what I'm saying? So it's like a double-edged sword. It, like, you really have to have a good mix.
And I think one important thing that you're saying here too is that if you have any key shots, like anything that's highlighted in the script, like close up here, then it's important to pick those up so you're not scrambling to try and embellish that with writing and stuff. It's like, this is important because da, da, da.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I want to touch upon. It's like the amount of times, at least for Mary's Garden, that we didn't, like, it was my fault not to highlight certain things, and like I didn't really, like, I underestimated the impact that like close-ups had, like truly, like with like small things, like what's it called, like, remember when I gathered when we saw the snake in the ditch? Yeah, like I thought that would be something cool, and like I filmed it like just a regular like wide shot, and like I don't know if you guys watched the narrative version, but that's in the film. That made it to the end, but it just looked so out of place, and it kind of like took away from like the special like moment that was that, like, because it was like impromptu, dude. Like that was out of the, like, we didn't plan on shooting that. But yeah, like close-ups are definitely like they make, in my opinion, my humble opinion, they make or break a scene. Because you could be talking about something, but if you don't get the right close-up or the right shot for a certain thing, what are you really talking about? You know what I mean? Like, it's completely, like, one thing's being vague to leave it up to the viewer to understand, to interpret the message, but another thing's just not giving the viewer enough information, you know?
And, well, I think alongside that, we're talking about sort of like mise-en-scène with the placement of the snake, and I think that's what frightens me, and I don't even know if this is going to change in the future, but my ability to do things in an impromptu fashion, same thing with dialogue and letting actors have free range of their character. I think I'm distrustful as a characteristic, so to endow trust in other characters or other people to embellish the character that I give them, that's something I'm gonna have to work on. And even in the broader scheme of things, being impromptu and shooting things on the fly, or being like guerrilla tactics, just like being able to do things on the spot, it's still a little tricky for me. But I think that's also a problem with my pre-production skills, because we talk about that too, is the fact that, like, if you go into it thinking I need to have everything I've written here, then you're gonna put yourself in a box, and it's gonna make or break the entire project.
I agree. I think pre-production, something that I didn't do, at least, I don't know if you did, but it's just plan out, like, actually, like, do like a rough cut of the scenes that you wanted to do. You know what I mean? Like, see what works and what doesn't.
Like
you know
your
what I mean?
principal photography?
Like, yeah. Like that. I did none
we
of that.
didn't either, to be fair. I had set locations in my head,
yeah,
but then that was a whole mishap, and like learning, oh, well, so-and-so doesn't have that room anymore, it's rearranged now, and I have to totally... The English scene, the English room, I thought that was going to be RP's room, who had his room... Well, regardless of how it looked, I went into it thinking it would look the same, and I'd positioned my characters in the set, or in the script, in a manner that reflected how that room looked. And then, just because of how things looked at the time, or what we walked into, I had to totally flip that scene around and just mirror all the shots. Paul, you remember, like, with the storyboard? Yeah,
Oof.
it was...
Yeah, it's
That
like
sounds
shifting the desk all
exhausting.
around all the time.
Well, like,
That sounds
that too,
exhausting.
yeah. Every time we walked into that room, we had to move all the desks around, and that's another touch on ethics. Is like, I questioned how much I could ask the people working with me, how much they could like assist in
Same.
moving the desks, even like just doing some of the manual work. I was like, they're here to act or like to help me, so I'll do the grunt work, and then we can go from there. There was one day where I did all the grunt work for moving a green screen into one room, and then we ended up not using that room for convenience sake because we were having a lunch break after the hour that I had spent setting up that room. And then I'm like, why didn't I ask them to help me? Why did I concede using this room? Because we still could have used that room. But then I also just questioned, well, yeah, I mean, bottom line is, like, why didn't I just ask anybody to help me out? And that was frustrating. That entire day was frustrating. I think we'll touch on that day and the day after that on another podcast, because that was a whole ordeal. That was the almost getting arrested, shaving my head, and like all that stuff in one day. It's like, whoa. But anyway, yeah, just not knowing what you're walking into, that will kill you. Like, it'll make your project dead in the water.
sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like, God, you don't... Oh, man. You do understand. Like, Mary's Garden was just, like, as much as I loved it, it was a pain.
Yeah. But that's the beauty of it. It's
Because
like,
I didn't...
It's painful, and you
And
love
that's the one thing that I really, like, that I hated the most was that I didn't know the movie was done until until I edited it. That's when I knew the movie was done. It's like there was no like, what's it called? There was no clear time frame for the film. Like, I knew I wanted to make it long, I knew I wanted to do this and that, but like, I was fine with whatever as long as it got done. You know what I mean? And when we finished filming that last day, that we had to put all that gross like blood on us, which, by the way, I'm sorry for that. Like, that was just awful.
I remember. Well, it was high tension too, because that was the day before the premiere, and like, I wasn't freaking out. You could have like dunked me in blood, and I would have been like whatever. But the fact that it was the day before the premiere, that's what really got under my skin. That's what made the blood inside me come out. It's just like freaking out, dude. Because I was like, you're gonna have to edit this tonight, and then I don't know if it's gonna be ready tomorrow, and
it wasn't.
We'll get to that though. But if you want to, but yeah, just I remember that day where specifically I have a story from that as well, where you were hitting me over the head with a wrench, and I kept saying,
I remember that.
I was like, you should have a cutaway shot of like, you lift up the wrench and then cut to wrench in frame, swing down, and then cut to black. Just like impact, boom, and then.
That's what we did.
No,
watch it back.
You guys practiced it before, like the other method. I remember.
Oh, because
watch it back. That's exactly what we did.
In the narration cut.
I'm not sure if it's in there. I haven't seen it in a while, but I know the actual scene when it came. Yeah, that's what we did. I think what bothered me though when we were filming that is that when I was winding up, you thought it was over, and then you would kind of like.
And this is what I was getting to. This is what I'm getting to.
And then you kept lifting your head, and I had to like, when I was down with my hand, and I had to stop and like throw the wrench to the side because I'm like, bro, I'm literally gonna kill you if you keep doing this.
And so I remember that too. I remember
we both got kind of like heated with each other, but like,
it put me in a victim complex, and I was like, don't put me in a pin.
I didn't put you in a pin.
You put a beast in a cage. You put a beast in a cage on. You put beast mode on lock. You don't put beast mode on lock. but like, I remember I was saying like, if you put your hand in front of you, it would act as like a stopper. So then if you go down, it would like stop your hand. And then point being, I just remember what really mattered that day was miscommunication, and just me saying like, we could do this, and then I heard 1, 2, 3, and then like I think it was one time when you almost hit me in the head.
Yeah, and that's when we both kind of like.
But I was like, you didn't though.
I remember we both got into it with each other. It wasn't like anything like we fought or anything like that. It was more just like we were just both pissed at each other for not.
Because I wanted you to hit me, dude. I was like, you could have hit me. I would have been fine, dude. I would have been fine. But then
we changed it. We changed it to a remote.
This too.
Remember? We grabbed the TV remote because it was black.
Huh?
So it was a wrench, and we changed it. Yeah, because after I almost hit you, Josh was like, you know what? Just use the remote, and I'll cut away real quick, and we won't notice it. So if you pay attention, the thing is a remote. It's not the wrench.
What? I don't remember that at all. Like,
Yeah, we used the remote. Because I didn't want to hit you. Because I felt like.
I think you're gaslighting me.
Because I felt like the raising of the head, like I was just like, dude, like I don't want to hit you. Like the purpose of choreographing this specific thing is to not like neither of us to get hurt. Because
I think you're giving me a red pill right now.
What?
You're giving me the red pill, and I don't want it.
All I remember was I was putting blood on y'all, and I was moving the furniture. And then that was a scene where, wasn't that the day where you were like, it was the last shot, and you were waving the knife at Mason, and and it was like the last like POV shot. I remember Jen like thinking like, oh my god.
I remember being
Yeah,
terrified.
Zach was.
I was like, Juan's actually about to stab me right now.
Tensions
were so high,
were high.
that like, and that knife was going into my like freaking pants, dude. I like felt it. It was like,
Wait,
that was.
did I
freaky.
actually
remember
hurt you?
that, Yeah. No. It's just I remember the pressure of the point of the knife going into my right thigh. I remember that.
Oh my bad.
And then you like drag it. Yeah. And then I don't even think it got in the like. Well, there was one shot that got in the movie, but there were times where like it would focus on you, but underneath the camera, you're still dragging that knife on my pants, and I'm just looking down like, no. But yeah, that was
Bro,
intense.
that was
And this was all the last day of filming. This is all like,
that was so funny though.
the final day.
The funny thing though is the way we shot that. Like like Josh was like hugging you from the back.
Josh was cradling my backside. Yeah, he was right up behind me, acting as my face. It was, yeah, the entire situation was great for me. I was tied up. I couldn't get out, and you had a knife dangling in front of me, and Josh was right behind me, filming the entire thing from my point of view. It was great. I was
Josh was like, "I'm gonna get you back for that lock on dick."
A cameraman. He totally was. He pans down. Yeah.
But my laptop's
that
on
whole
5%.
situation.
I'm gonna have to go and send this recording to y'all.
Well, like really quick. So anything that you want to plug?
Plug.
Anything?
Bro,
Bear's
like,
Garden, Dose of Revenge.
oh, that's what that I wanted to talk about. We should talk about like future projects. You see what I'm saying?
All right. End of the podcast.
Wait, didn't you
Podcast
have a
over.
documentary
Podcast
or
over.
something, Juan, for like school?
Podcast over. End the podcast. It's cut.
I did. It didn't turn out as good as I wanted it to, but y'all can watch it if you want.
I'd be down to watch,
Oh,
bro.
for sure.
By the way, it's a political one, and it was for a project, and I have to take a side, just to let you know, in case you don't.
I thought you did. You just learned about conservatives and liberals.
You ain't even know what liberals and conservatives was, Juan.
Dude, that's why I failed TOK, bro. Cause like a lot of times we talk about politics, I didn't know what we were talking about.
But like, I that was actually one of the topics I want to bring up. Is like future projects, what we're working on. But we'll have to cover like more of that later if we're ending up here. I'll have to come up with an outro as well.
All right. It's been your boy.
A Fortnite.
Fortnite.